Namaste, Sat Shri Akal, Adab, hello. I'm Jigyasa Dua from India, a country bestowed with immense talent and resources to implement the improved agricultural practices. I'm a big food enthusiast, and thus my work experience was predominantly in the hospitality industry. My exposure to nuances of a business and to India's rich background has allowed me to relate closely to the Monsanto case study.
你好, this is David Wan. I was born in Hong Kong, but my father was born in Indonesia. My prior work experience include management consultants and power equity fund. I have worked on multiple projects on farming and food processing. By joining this competition, I hope to help create a holistic solution that will make a difference for the farmers in Indonesia.
Selamat. Hello. My name is Ben Wong. I was born in Malaysia and grew up in the United States. Over the past 5 years, I've worked in the B2B industry, facilitating trade from China to worldwide. I've also had experience working in India as well as the Philippines. Over the years, I've worked very closely with the Ministry of Commerce in China, and I feel that there are a lot of relationship in terms of the Monsanto case. I hope to bring that type of experience into this case to help facilitate and better the Monsanto project. And where?
TCUHK. Thank you, judges, for joining us today, and a special thanks to MUS Cerebration for having given us this opportunity to present our proposed solution for Monsanto's case study called Monsanto Cooperative. This is how the flow of the presentation is going to be like. I start with Monsanto and agriculture in Indonesia, followed by forming strategic alliances, and then moving on to the main content of proposing the solution called the Monsanto Cooperative, and then how the cooperative is going to get implemented, and finally the project financials. Part of Monsanto's success is its vision to improve the life of the farmers while counteracting the food shortage that Indonesia faces. Up until 1940s, we can see that the corn yield was relatively stagnant. However, the Green Revolution in late 40s up until 1960s brought about a revolution in the way the agriculture practices were being implemented. The same practices were adopted by Monsanto in their own business model so as to enhance the productivity of the crops. And these engineered crops were widely accepted by the population of the United States. However, adopting the same techniques, the same business model, which the Monsanto has been doing so in Europe, Asia, parts of Asia, Africa, Australia, it wasn't that successful in Indonesia. As you can see that Indonesia was contributing only 1% or maybe less than 1% towards the total global revenues. And what were the problems? Well, there was complex value chain which was evading the profit that these smallholder farmers could have possibly earned. Then there was lack of infrastructure such as poor irrigation system as well as the weak rural transport network. Thirdly, these smallholder farmers possess fragmented land hold structure which deprives them of the economies of scale and the bargaining power. Additionally, there was lack of information for all these farmers so as to have improved the way they could have sown the seeds. Also, there was lack of financing by the financial institutions. So all altogether, these homegrown issues resulted in the shortage of food. Whereas 41% of the workforce is working towards agriculture, the country still could not attain the self-sufficiency level. Having said that, Indonesia enjoys a great potential so as to enhance its productivity for the crops. The three key farming islands of Java, Sumatra, and Kalimantan are blessed with abundant fertile soil and great climate so as to feed a population of 240 million. Also, the government extends its support through extending seeds and fertilizers at subsidized rates, and the NGOs are there who will extend the support through the technical training to improve the livelihood of the farmers and also the funds so as to improve the productivity of the crops.
The second part of our presentation will be focusing on the strategic alliances that we need to form Now, looking into the strategic alliance objective is to make sure that we kind of put together everyone's objectives into a common goal. Now, we've noticed that like the farming land hold structure that's currently in Indonesia, that's very fragmented, so is the amount of energy and funds that are going into Indonesia. We've seen that the government, once being a net exporter, is now a net importer. We've noticed that a lot of funds from the US aid and the Australian government are being put into common objectives, but they're not being streamlined into one. So what can we do? We need to basically form and get the government on board, like the Ministry of Agriculture, as well as get the NGOs such as TNC, WWF, as well as development programs, World Bank, US aid, Australian aid, and other partnerships that we feel are very important, like the financial institutions, agriculture suppliers, and others. Now, this is going to be based on 4 criteria. The 4 criteria will be number 1, commitment, number 2, competence, number 3, coverage, and number 4, corporate reputation. Now, moving on, we'll see that we need to create a Monsanto one-stop shop for this to be executed correctly. Now, this is really the meat of our proposal. The Monsanto one-stop shop is to be able to create a strategic partnership, like I've mentioned before, and create a 10, our first stage will be created 10 very localized one-stop shops in Indonesia, as well as self-sustaining program with a total of 8% output value charge on a 3 revenue point system program that is from loans, sales, and distribution, as well as operation must be led by representatives of the farmers at least 10 localized areas. Now, the 4 facets of our iFed program will be information, because there's a lack of information that's being distributed to the farmers. We need to counteract that by offering Monsanto's information on technology, seeds. Number 2, financing. And this will be one of our revenue points that I will discuss later on. Providing credit sales on Monsanto seeds and technology and practices, as well as any projects that will be enhancing the farming industry in Indonesia. As well, for this to be carried out, we also need empowerment. Empowerment being able to be carry out first-hand training for farmers in Indonesia. And obviously number 4, once the crops are grown to a sellable, distributable level, we need to be able to open channels for our farmers to be able to push these crops out at an appropriate manner. Now, if we kind of take a look at this holistic approach, the iFed approach, we feel that this is the essence to our Monsanto cooperative. And we move on to how are we going to make money, or how are we going to feed money back in the cooperative. It's based on these revenue points. Now, when it comes to our revenue points, we have 5 revenue points that are distributed between 3 parties. We've noted here that the yellow is for Monsanto, the blue is for Monsanto Cooperative, and the green here is for smallholder farmers. And the way that this is going to work out is we look at number 1, the revenue point for Monsanto. Monsanto will get money from selling the technology and seeds to the cooperative. Now, the revenue point for cooperative here at number 2, the cooperative resells the markup, resells the technology at a markup, a small markup, and up to 100% credit sales with small interest charge. Now, the money made on this will be refed into the cooperative. Number 3, farmers then push this up and submits the crop to the cooperative. Number 4, revenue point for the farmers, as well as revenue point number 2 for the Monsanto cooperative. The cooperative distributes the gathered crops to large collectors, charges a distribution fee based on sales, and returns the rest of the proceeds to the farmers. And number 5, the revenue point number 3 for the Monsanto cooperative here, we'll see that farmers can settle their credit sales and interest that were previously given to the farmers.
This section we will be covering executing the cooperative. To execute the cooperative, firm commitment from Monsanto on financing and taking into account the interests of key stakeholders is essential. Number 1 on financing. The total initial cost is estimated to be 7.6 million, 70% from Monsanto and 30% from the government and the local partners. That means Monsanto could pay up to 5.3 million, which will mainly cover the working capital injected to the 10 local Monsanto cooperatives, and also the national setup cost, which is used to negotiate and form strategic alliances. Then we move to number 2, governance. A 2-level governance system should be deployed with a national cooperative council at the top and separate localized Monsanto committees at the bottom. Both the council and the committee shall include key stakeholder representatives, and that the activities of the cooperative shall be governed by the constitution, which has been developed with consensus among the key stakeholders. As a result, no party should dominate the cooperative. The next one is covering profit distribution. We recommend that all the profits shall be used for the benefits of Indonesian farmers. At least 50% shall be retained in the local cooperative where the profits are derived, and up to 50% to be used in other locations by the cooperative to develop the service there. As the cooperative expands, they could become a considerable source of financing. And we move on to performance and incentives. Performance of the cooperative shall be measured primarily by the value creation for the farmers. We will look at the FH income level at the area covered by a local cooperative, and then also multiply that by the number of farmers in the area. And then another measure shall be the profitability at the local cooperative. Each farmer representative shall receive an incentive pay based on the above measures. The project will take an 18-month implementation time frame in 3 phases, with the first 6 months as preparation and the last 12 months as operating the cooperative as a one-stop shop. As illustrated, most of the key activities have already been discussed, and then at the end of the pilot period, there will be project evaluation. So we are now on project financials. According to our projection, the cooperative will create a big win-win between Monsanto and the farmers. Because of the superior technology and seeds supplied by Monsanto, the output could be doubled while requiring only 2/3 of the resources. If we look at the farmers' financial here, even if the non-resources cost could increase by 250%, the cooperative could increase the profits of the farmers by as much as 80%. And then for the financials of Monsanto, assuming it could account for 50% of the non-resources cost by the farmers, it would mean 39 cents per dollar of farmer output. If we multiply that by the improved FH output per farmer in Indonesia, and also the sales, and also the number of farmers covered by the cooperative, that could mean 11 million US sales to Monsanto in the pilot period, and also a net profit of 0.6 million. And then on the right, at the typical local Monsanto cooperative, it could sustain itself with an initial injection of 0.5 million. If we account for like 10% of the non-resources cost at the farmers, it will also have a recurring income of 0.2 million. So all in all, the project is financially sound, and if we project it to the live year, given the promising return of the cooperative, the resources at Monsanto, and the huge population of Indonesia, we recommend a rapid expansion of the cooperative by 4 times the operation in every 18-month period. Then by the end of year 9, the cooperative will cover 5 million farmers and contribute as much as 28% of Monsanto's global sales. Because Indonesia really has a huge farmer population of over 100 million, the above could be realized by only serving 5% of the farmers in the country. To conclude, we believe that by improving the productivity with information, financing, empowerment, and distribution, Monsanto Cooperative could really make a difference. Thank you.